Welcome back to a brand new video, everybody. My name is Toshigun, and today I'm going to be telling you guys the story of the time we had the cops called on my best friend and I for breaking bricks. Yeah, you heard that correctly, breaking bricks. And it's quite the funny story, so strap in, grab your popcorn, and let's jump right into this. So this story takes place during the summer of going into 8th grade, if I remember correctly. My friend, we're going to call him Samurai for the story, he was going into 9th grade. So this goes quite a ways back. It was a nice summer day, and my friend and I frequently liked to skateboard and longboard. This will be important for later on in the story, but that was our main mode of transportation back then, and we loved it, and we still skateboard and longboard to this day. But back on track, what you guys have to know about my neighborhood is that I live close to the local high school in my area, and Samurai and I would frequently ride our skateboards in the parking lot of said high school because the parking lot was a lot less bumpy and we could smoothly ride our boards. So, continuing on with that, you should also know that on the backside of the high school, there was, keyword was, a huge pile of bricks, and you can probably see where this is going. And being the dumb teenagers that we were, guess what we decided to do? Now, I don't know if we have bricks for brains or anything, but our dumbasses decided it was a bright idea to pick up these bricks and, well, you know, chuck them at the ground, of course, shattering them into several pieces. Now, I'll admit, it wasn't our brightest decision, obviously, but what can we say? We were dumb teenagers. Anyway, so we're chilling, casually breaking these bricks, when all of a sudden, this guy walks into his backyard, and the way it's designed is that the parking lot of the high school connects to like a row of backyards from the street over, and it's separated by a fence down the middle. So with that, like I was saying, this guy walks into his backyard and starts yelling at us, saying we threw these bricks into his backyard and saying we broke something, which was a total lie. We didn't throw anything near his backyard, let alone into his backyard, so he was getting pissed making this shit up. He walks up to his garage he has back there and claims that we broke something on the backside, which, again, was a total lie. There weren't any chips or damage or anything, at least not from us. Hell, there wasn't even any debris in his backyard. It's like, dude, what the hell? So anyway, this guy, getting angrier by the second, storms off, and Samurai and I think it's the end of it. We can go back to riding our boards and talking because at this point it probably clicked in our brains that causing destruction of property isn't such a great idea. Who would have guessed? I don't know why it took us so long to realize that, but anyway, a few minutes go by and lo and behold, a cop car rolls into the high school parking lot. Great, so these cops pull up next to us, gets out of the car, and starts asking us what's going on. Knowing that he clearly sees the pile of broken bricks behind us, we clearly can't do much about the situation, so they take our boards, they lay them across the hood of the cop car, and they ask us for our parents' numbers, and I gave them my mom's number. Now, something you have to understand was that Samurai was over my house earlier while his mom and dad were at work, so he was technically under my mom's care at this time, and this kind of ties into what I'm about to say. Nonetheless, Samurai gives the cops his parents' numbers as well. So, to continue on, one of the cops proceeds to call my mom, and she answers and he explains everything to her. She eventually says that she'll be down there in a few moments to address the situation. So we wait, we're probably shitting our pants at the time. Eventually my mom shows up and the police officer talks to her for a bit. I can't remember, nor do I really know what they were saying, but I do remember that they are just kids and kids make stupid decisions was thrown around. I can't really remember much of it, but I do remember this. After the cops and my mom were done talking, the cops said I was free to take my board and go home with my mom. However, they have to take Samurai back to the station because his parents were not around at the moment to come pick him up. Now, my mom spoke up here and asked why she can't just take him back home with us because he was under her care at the time. The cops explained that they cannot do that and said that it was his parents that were responsible for him and they would have to come pick him up from the station. So with that, I watched my friend get in the back seat of a cop car and drive off. And we weren't charged with anything, thankfully, and neither were our parents. Now at the time, I didn't really think much of it. Probably due to my lack of knowledge, but a few years later, I learned more about racism and how some cops can abuse their powers, and I've kind of put the pieces together right then and there. They took Samurai to the station, yet let me go scot-free. And we all think that that's bullshit to this day. And my mom still mentions, whenever it's brought up at any time, still wishes that she could have taken Samurai back home with us. Speaking of my mom, she has a few words to say about the whole situation. So go ahead, Mom.
I can talk right now?
Yeah, it's picking it up right now.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm Tashi's mom. Did I say it right? Okay, Toshigun's mom.
There you go.
And I'm going to talk a little bit about the breaking bricks incident. Back when you were how old, Nolan?
That's back in 9th grade, I think. Oh, no, I was going into 8th grade. I was going into 8th
Seventh
grade.
going into 8th grade. So you were probably around 13 years old, I want to say.
Yeah, around there.
Yeah.
Sounds right.
About 13 years old. I was out with my husband and Nolan's stepdad. We were out doing something, driving around doing something, maybe coming back from somewhere, and I get a call from the police saying that my son was breaking bricks with his friend in the parking lot of the high school. And I was thinking, what? Breaking bricks? What are they talking about? I'm like, okay, breaking bricks, all right.
Must have been a funny call to get.
That was a strange call. I'm like, oh my God, you gotta be kidding me. What is going on? So I went up to the parking lot. I just went. My husband, he went home. But I went myself to see what was going on in this parking lot of the high school, and it was in the back of the high school. So, indeed, Nolan and his friend Corvell, same age, were breaking, cinder block bricks?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, there was a big pile of cinder block bricks piled up, okay, by the fence in the back of the school in the parking lot. And
It was near that shed they had back there.
Okay, they were systematically taking each brick and smashing it on the ground. That was all they were doing. They weren't smashing it through the fence or hurling it towards anybody's home or window or car or anything like that. Just smashing it on the ground. But
thank you, because that guy, remember, he tried to claim that we broke something in his backyard or his garage.
Yeah. Somebody whose backyard backed up to where the brick bashing was going on said that Nolan and Corvell were trying to throw things in their backyard or something like that. But they weren't. They were just smashing them on the ground. But still, that's technically illegal because the bricks didn't belong to you, okay? So they weren't your bricks to break, okay?
We were 13. We didn't know anything.
And they belonged to the school, apparently. That's what the cops said. So, yeah. But luckily, they didn't get in much trouble. And the cop, didn't give a ticket or anything. So, but what I didn't like was the fact that I got to take Nolan home with me. But Corvell, who is African American, despite my telling the police officer numerous times that he could definitely come back to my house with us and wait for his mom there because he practically lived at our house all the time anyway. Him and Nolan, always in the bedroom playing their video games, stinking up the bedroom. But
gee, thanks.
well, you guys were like 13 years old, right? But anyways, so, and I told the cop that, and I wasn't too happy because the cop said no. Well, there was two cops. The first cop said he thought that would be okay for Corvell to come back to my house. And then his mom, the police would contact his mother because, he gave the police officer his mom's phone number. And that, his mom could talk to the police officer and then pick Corvell up at my house. The first officer said that was fine. But there was another officer there, apparently above the other one in rank, I suppose. And he claimed that no, it is protocol that Corvell had to go to the police station to wait for his mom. And I didn't like this at all. Even if his mom had gave permission for him to come back to my house, I didn't like the fact that, Corvell, who is African American, was, going to have to go to the police station to wait for his mom. Well, my son was able to come home. And I would have happily taken Corvell back to my house to wait for his mom. I wanted to. I talked to the cop about it, but yeah, they were firm that Corvell had to go to the police station. I was not happy about that. I couldn't say for sure if that truly was a protocol, okay? That if his mom, wasn't there, that he had to go to the police station, that he couldn't just come over to my house. But, I told the cop he's there all the time anyway. They're best buddies. Corvell practically lives at our house. Not a big deal. His mom knows where we live. But no, nothing that second cop absolutely insisted, despite my arguments. And so, I got to drive home with my son, but his African-American dark-skinned friend, Corvell, had to go to the police station. And I was upset about that. I'm still upset about that. I talked to Corvell about that. And, he knows that I tried, and he heard me. He was there, obviously. But yeah, that bothered me. And, it still bothers me to this day. And I think that there is bias there. There definitely is, and it's a shame. And of course, there's worse examples, obviously, of racial profiling and, police engaging in racist practices and prejudice. But I feel that was unnecessary, that he could have come to my house with me and had his mom pick him up there. And I'm not sure how I could prove that there really isn't a protocol in place and it was, a racial incident. I don't know if I could prove it, but I feel that it was, I feel that it was racially motivated to do that. And that's a shame. And, I try to hold police officers accountable when I, in the papers, when I read things like this. I try to be cautious about it, and I try to remember that this is something that goes on all through the country, and worse instances than this, even horrible instances. And I'm trying to do my best to work against it, to fight against it, to speak against it, to vote for politicians that will do something about it, to raise awareness of it. I tell people about it. I keep an eye on our local police station about, the local news, what they do, what they're involved in. But that was an incident that I saw with my own eyes and that I do believe was racially motivated. So, but besides that, okay, the breaking bricks incident, besides that, was actually, even though I was furious at the time that I got a call from the police and that my son was breaking bricks in a parking lot, I look back on it now and I think it's pretty funny. And then I think of that show Breaking Bad, and then I always tease Nolan. I'll be like,
That's where it came from.
Remember breaking bricks?
Mm-hmm.
He was a rebel back then, let me tell you.
Oh yeah, I was a real bad boy.
Walter White has nothing on this kid. He was breaking bricks when he was 13.
Yeah, watch out. Watch out, society. Here I come.
Okay, well, I'm outie, G. Alright? Did I do a rizzling job? Am I bussing?
I'm ending this recording. Well, on the bright side, now that we're older, we all like to poke fun at the whole breaking bricks situation. Not the acclaimed racism, of course, but rather how stupid it was as a whole. You have two teenagers breaking bricks in a high school parking lot. It does make for a pretty interesting story, doesn't it? So before I end the video, I'd like to mention a few things just so everything is clear. To start, yes, Samurai and I were okay. Neither we nor our parents were charged with anything. We were, however, grounded for some time, obviously. And Samurai and I are still best friends to this day. We still talk pretty much every day, even after he moved away. But he probably will be moving back soon, so we're probably going to make a couple videos together. So with that, I hope you all enjoyed the video. Tell me your thoughts down below. I know the story may have touched some sensitive topics, but I'd still like to hear your thoughts. Give the video a thumbs up if you have enjoyed, and subscribe if you have not and you want to see more. But until then, I will see you all in the next video.